So you're changing our words. We will AI.
Call the morning meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Good morning. Alan Barkstrom,
Here.
Jeff Hallstrand, Paula Hodak,
Here.
Jordan Spacek,
In the room.
Dennis Wortko.
Here.
Thank you.
Public comment. Is there any public comment? Jenny?
Three minutes, right?
You want 3 minutes?
Yeah,
Is it on the agenda?
How much is it gonna
it
cost?
is on the agenda.
Okay. Okay.
Usually people remind me that it's gotta be 3 minutes, so I just said it. Okay, this abstention discussion has gone on so long. How many months has it been now? And here it is again. It shouldn't have been brought up in the first place. I don't believe that you have a right to consider imposing your will on any duly elected board member. If abstention weren't allowed, it would be reflected in the rules. Robert rules would have exceptions, modifications, and limitations if they were necessary. It seems to be the solely to discredit fellow board members because they don't fit your mold. Is this nitpicking just to discredit another board member? Think about it. If that is the case, then who's next? So many times, some board members do not vote in the best interest of the county taxpayers. That's worse than abstaining when the discussion has gone on around and around and around ad nauseum until no good solution has been found at all. Trying to sound noble by bringing up other board members' constituents not being represented when they abstain doesn't work, when many times people that I know and I don't feel that some of you are representing us at all. I asked my cousin who was in Rusk County Board if anyone ever abstains. She said they do sometimes. When I asked her if other board members complain about it, she says no. She was surprised the issue has even been brought up. Continually rehashing out one minor point like this is ridiculous, petty, and shameful. What a waste of time.
Okay, is there anybody online that would like to speak? *6.
Yeah, he is.
It's on.
Okay. Just
It's on. I was looking at the board
got it.
because I can't see that one over there.
Yeah,
Far
that's
away.
far away.
I don't hear anybody that wants to speak. *6 if you want to speak. Nope. Okay, we'll move on. We got the minutes from October the 15th and November the 12th. It's your pleasure on the minutes.
Approve to accept them as presented.
Second. We got a motion by Paula and a second by Alan. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Employee status updates.
All right, new hires, promotions. Peggy Call is substitute nutrition site manager who's starting 11/12/2025. Terminations, resignations, and retirements. We have Greg Cooley at the highway after 33 and a half years. His last day will be 12/20/2025. Chris Slade, register and probate, has been working with us for 14 3/4 years. Her last day was 12/5/2025. Jenny Shu, lead economic support specialist, has been with the county for 37 and a half years. And her last day will be January 2nd. Recruitments, we have highway operator we're looking for, economic support specialist, judicial assistant, deputy sheriff, part-time deputy sheriff. That one's ongoing. That one's just one of those that we've seen for quite a while. We're working with the recruit schools, so that's kind of one of our new, not tactics or techniques, but we're going into the recruit schools with employees. We're kind of looking at who's been taken, who's still available to put our name on and kind of get them before they even finish. We are interviewing one tomorrow, but we know we have a couple more openings coming up early next year.
Who's the current deputy sheriff? What's that vacancy?
Which one left us? Danny Lambert left down to Taylor County. Or no, that was somebody else. He moved, yeah. That one we talked about a couple months ago, yeah. So Danny Lambert's the opening. We have a couple that are talking about retiring early next year. So there'll be some movement. So we're continuing to recruit because we know there's some openings coming. Part-time corrections officers, dispatcher, ongoing. That one is just, again, we are always recruiting for that part-time. We like to get part-time individuals, see if they're, want to do this full-time. Some people are just retired or, want to do part-time work after working too. Substitute nutrition site manager, ongoing. So those three last ones are just, we're always recruiting, looking for individuals who want to do those positions. That's all I have, unless you have questions about recruitment and retention.
I don't see anybody that wants to talk. Okay, employee handbook, holidays.
All right, so the board approved most of what you guys forwarded to they approved everything to the handbook with the caveat of sending back the discussion of President's Day. And whether it being a floating holiday or giving everybody one additional vacation day or sticking with President's Day. I did talk to most of our leadership team and see how it would affect their offices. For example, we talked to the treasurer. They prefer having President's Day off because there's no mail and no banking that's done that day. So it's one of those where it's a slower day anyways. It's also a federal holiday because of those. So people assume we're closed. The court system, they were on board for President's Day because then it's easier to cover other employees. It's just, hey, everybody's off this day. The court's closed. The judges are on board. Everybody knows that there won't be clerks available or the DA's office available. The one office that requested, I would say, something different was Highway, and that's how we presented it. So you guys should have had something in your box this morning that kind of outlined the verbiage that we're, I guess, recommending based on the conversations we've had, that President's Day would be the day off. We'd close. However, Highway, Airport, and Dams would receive the day before Independence Day in place of President's Day because of the plowing, because of winter maintenance. They'd prefer to have a day off. We currently already do that with Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. They get the day after Independence Day. So when I talk to Roger and his team, what it'll do is it'll give them the 3rd, 4th, and 5th off, whether it's a weekend. What we'll do is we'll make it just, they get pretty much a full week off if they take a vacation day. So then he would work with the crew and just say, this is the week off in the summer, and everybody could choose to take a vacation to make it a full week. So
Where's that? Because on this, it says it
No.
the 6th and the 7th.
yeah, that's our payroll schedule. It was a handout in your box this morning that was redlined.
Oh, I didn't,
I can share. if
I didn't
everybody
get
wants
far
to
enough
see.
down.
Yep.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I was like, I'm going through this and like not catching it yet.
So I did put it up on the board if you want to see. But yeah, ultimately when we discussed, there was more individuals that would prefer just, this is the day we close the door. Example, the jail, they never close the door. So it's just saying this day is considered a holiday. Those who work, great. Those who don't get paid, they get premium pay for working on a holiday. Otherwise, you're going to float it anyways. And if they take a day off, you're paying premium for somebody to cover them. So it doesn't make a difference over in the jail. Sheriff's Department, they negotiated it in their contract that we changed from, they already had President's Day, but they changed the MLK Day, Martin Luther King Day, to the day after Thanksgiving. So it covers what we do as the county. Health and Human Services, same thing. When I talked to Sarah, it's easier for them to just say we're closed this day for their social workers, for everybody, just rather than trying to work around clients and do a floating type holiday. So you guys need, based on what I understand the board said, was you guys are directed to determine how this day was to be used. And then we'll put it in the handbook, how you guys see fit.
It doesn't really make a bit of difference to me.
Like I said, this is kind of what their leadership team recommended.
To change that Roger.
I'm fine with the change that Roger has presented.
That makes a lot of sense with the seasonal problems of the snow. You know,
Yeah,
so
and I mean,
ice.
technically it'll cost us less potentially, because if they are plowing, it would have been time and a half plus a vacation day. So they'd get 2.5 times pay, or not a vacation day, but a holiday. So in this case, if they're all out plowing on President's Day, it's not considered a holiday. So you save
Right.
potentially some of that.
That's what my point was.
Do you need a motion for this now, or just?
I would
okay.
motion to accept the verbiage as presented.
As he said, I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Alan, what do you think?
For those online, it was just a look like, huh?
You lock that kid up?
There's a first and
Might
a
take
second.
you
I
to
said, what do you
jail.
think?
It don't matter to me.
Media doesn't seem to like that.
I know, I heard that too, but
You can look at however it's called President's Day as you want.
Okay.
I don't have an issue with it. I think it's a good change off for the highway guys.
Everyone in favor?
I,
Opposed?
nope.
All right, and just to clarify process, because we, the board approved what I believe is what they did was approve the packet and everything with the caveat of clarifying this language. This does not go back to full board for approval. However, during Dennis's update in February, we can say, this is what we came up with, so that the full board understands what the decision was.
Pretty sure you'll probably give an update on it before him even.
I will try my best.
I
not
don't
to.
remember that.
I was gonna say, can you remember that, Dennis, back then, up then?
Dennis, quick question.
Yes.
Was that Jeff who seconded? Was
Yes,
you?
it
Yeah,
was.
I thought so.
Okay.
Okay, payroll during holidays, bank holidays.
Yeah, so this one I wanted to bring up. We're starting to see. Well, this year is probably the worst out of any of the years we've had in a while, where payroll fell on several holidays, and that's federal or our holiday, which makes the banks close, which makes it you have to get the payroll in early. And the problem with getting the payroll early is we're seeing our employees have to come in on Sunday to get it done. So they're working Sunday, Monday, and they have to be done by Tuesday. And this time is it Christmas? We just got an email. It's like you have to be done by 10 a.m. or 10:45 instead of like the normal 3 o'clock. So it also cut a whole nother day off. And we do have in our handbook, so it's on page 6 of the handbook in your little packet. So 6 out of 27. It talks about how we pay on Thursdays, so direct deposit on Thursdays following the end of a payroll period. So we highlighted, however, there may be times when due to scheduled holiday, it will be necessary to change the pay date to either Wednesday or Friday, depending on the timing of the holiday. Well, because we have Wednesday or Friday, we really struggle with people just saying, well, it must be Wednesday. It must be Wednesday. And so we would like to remove the request out of our office is to remove the name Wednesday and just let people know a year ahead of time there's a federal holiday or there's a holiday, the deposit will go in on Friday. This, again, Christmas is probably going to be the toughest one this year because, like I said, usually we get till 3 o'clock. Well, now they gave us till 10:45 or something. It's just becomes too tight of a schedule to get all the departments get all their stuff in. Highway does their payroll. The sheriff's department does payroll. They're coming in on Sunday to get it done. So that's the request is we remove. So it would say it would be necessary, or we would just kind of remove that because it would be paid on Friday. So however, there would be times when due to scheduled holiday, it'd be necessary to change the pay date to Friday, depending on the date. So we take out the word Wednesday.
I think that makes a lot of sense. You put too many dates out there or days of the week, it'll,
And we just don't want people to depend on us being like, oh, it says Wednesday, so I should get it Wednesday. And then all of a sudden it doesn't show up Wednesday. And
yeah.
I don't know what you have to do. You'll need to maybe adjust your direct withdrawals or,
All those transactions are electronic, aren't they?
and they happen quite quickly. It's just that the bank gives us time limits. So if we sent it in on Wednesday at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, like we normally would, it wouldn't go on Thursday and it would go on Friday anyways. So, but employees have come to like expect it on the day before the holiday, like Thanksgiving. We did it on
Yeah.
Wednesday instead of Friday. But then everybody was in working, or not everybody, there was people in working early or extra late on Monday and Tuesday to get it done.
So do you need a motion or are you just going to strike it?
We would need a motion to rewrite that sentence.
I'll make that motion.
So it would say, however, there may be times when due to the scheduled holiday, it will be necessary to change the pay date to Friday, depending, to Friday, depending on the timing of the holiday. So we take out either Wednesday or those 3 words.
Right.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion by Paula and a second by Alan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, now it's time to waste some time. Supervisors, man, abstain from voting. Abstaining from voting.
Yep. So you guys had requested over the last couple meetings, this has been brought up. So what I did was reached out to other counties. I just have a little group that we work with. So I emailed those counties. Not everybody responded, but I did put in your packet those that did respond. So Buffalo, Barron, Grant, Ashland, and Burnett County, they had no rule. So they responded to me, but they have no rule, which is what I would consider we have no written rule. The counties there were several counties that did have, so Polk County, you can see it's written there, Eau Claire County, Iron County, Rusk County, or no, sorry, not Rusk. I heard Rusk. Rock County, Marathon County, Oconto County, all have some type of language discussing what happens in abstention, or just clarifies Robert's rules that says you are allowed to abstain. There's nothing wrong with it. You should abstain when there's a conflict. If there's a conflict, you should be saying I'm abstaining before the conversation even starts. And then also probably leaving. The recommendation is to leave the room because body language is no different than talking. So you could affect the discussion based on your body language, but that's only when you have a conflict. Some of these rules do discuss, like, if you are abstaining as a board member and it's because you don't understand something, you should be asking additional questions. You should, maybe it's postpone it till you get more information, whatever it might be. Now your cohort may say, no, we're not postponing, and that fails, the vote fails. What it does also is just documents. So if you're abstaining, it documents whether you have a conflict, or you could say I'm abstaining because I want to. So then in the meeting notes, it would just say because I want to. That would let your electors, the people that elected you, know that you're abstaining because you wanted to. So they lost representation on that situation. When I talked to legal, so I talked to Tolis a little bit about this, we were talking about something else, but I just brought it up. And what their comments was stuff like, if you're talking during the comment or the discussion period, most likely you have an opinion at that point, whether it's yes or no. So it's hard. That's, I think, where people are struggling to hear somebody, I abstain. Well, you just talked during the discussion 3-4 times. Just say no then. You're voting no because you don't agree with it. Usually, maybe you do agree, but abstention. So it's more of documenting the abstention for those times when elections come up. WCA did have a model rule. So if you follow WCA, they do have a model rules handbook that all counties can consider. Like these would be the recommended general rules. I did abstain. I did include that in the discussion piece. So this is up to you guys. This is a board decision. This has nothing to do with employees or myself. This is, do you guys want something on the books to say the board chair, once they hear somebody's abstained, they address that individual and say, can you give your reason? If they say I have no reason, that's what's documented. You could move on. This is, I think in my 14 years, I think this is the third time this has come up. So I believe it came up once about 8 years ago. We had a person abstain from, I believe it was the budget. There was kind of a discussion at the board. Why are we doing this? So then they talked about a rule. Nothing came out of it. We then had a board member, no longer a board member. They abstained on a couple things. This rule came up. That was about 4 or 5 years ago. And then now again, it's coming up. So in my tenure, we've talked about this every 3 years about.
Chairman?
Yes.
I just remember there was a conflict between the chair and a committee member. And I don't even know what the issue was, but anyway, the person actually walked out and that was the last that we ever saw him. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
But I don't know why we should add anything. I would think that if somebody knows, they have a conflict because it's economic or they don't want to, they should declare that. But I often wonder, let's say that you got it in a discussion and all of a sudden you abstained but gave no reason. But the reason that you had it came up during the discussion, I mean, that could happen. I don't think that people should be allowed to or requested to leave the room or anything like that. I mean, you're just having the chair, if there's extension that asks why, I mean, that would be appropriate. But
Well, I think where the issue is there's some cases where they can participate in the discussion and abstain, and there's other cases where they can't. And if the chair of the committee doesn't know that they're going to abstain, he can't control that. That's the issue. I mean, it's black and white.
Yeah. Is it black and white in Robert's rules? Why don't we just follow it?
Robert's rules just says you cannot compel an individual to vote.
Right.
And so that's where the abstention comes in, because you can't, as a board, force someone to vote. And that's where the abstention comes. I think it's just clarifying whether or not they have a conflict, because there is a danger. Like, say we were talking about a contract for a service and one of the board members owned more than 2% of that business. If they're making comments like, yeah, we should really go, that's good business, great business, do this, do that. And then all of a sudden the vote comes around and you're abstaining. You've created, you were influencing the vote, which is not okay. So you're participating in it. Yes, you didn't vote, but you influenced whether or not it should happen because you had a conflict, or vice versa. I don't want you to pick that company because my friend owns this, or I own this other company, and I want you to vote no to that one so that I can come in and get it. There was a county that was dealing with this with vehicles. They were purchasing vehicles from a dealership that the individual that owned the dealership was on the board, and they talked about how, yeah, this is a great deal. This is a great deal. Oh, I have to abstain because I own the place, which there was more than one issue on that one, because anything over $15,000 is a felony. That's a different issue. So that's where I think Robert's rules is very clear. If you have a conflict of interest, you should not participate in it at all, and that's where the body language could, because if you're just sitting there going, that's participating in the conversation. So that's where their recommendation is to leave the room. But it does clearly state you are not allowed to compel someone to vote. That does not mean you can't ask why they're not voting or why they voted the way they voted. That's where the confusing part is.
Dennis,
Yes.
could I maybe speak to, I found 6 reasons that you could abstain.
If you want to read
that
them
be
off, I read them all off already. I read them already.
Oh, okay.
But you
um,
can,
Yeah, so I found this from Board Effect, a Diligent brand, but they named 6 reasons for abstaining. And 1 was conflict of interest, 2, fear of having a lone or minority opinion, 3, disagreeing with other board members, 4, internal or moral conflict on an issue, 5, lack of sufficient information, and 6, lack of focus on board activities. So I just wanted to share that with everyone.
and then some of them reasons you can participate in the debate and others you can't, especially if it's a conflict, then you can't. So that, I think the chair needs to know why, if they're going to abstain or not. I don't care what the reasoning was, but if they're going to abstain, I think that I would like to know
Before the discussion?
before the discussion, so if you
How do you verbalize that? Is
And it
the
does
question.
say that in
in the
Robert's
rules,
rules.
in our rules.
Yeah, in Robert's rules, it does say if you're going to abstain because of a conflict, you should say it before the conversation happens. So that is a rule.
right.
I think the back end of it is to cover everybody's butt. Like, oh, you've abstained after the conversation. We better double check. Was that a conflict or just? And then maybe it also, because like there was reasons on there. I didn't understand the topic. Okay, then maybe the staff needs to do a better job at getting information out. What is that? It does help, help us
Paula?
help educate.
But I would think when listening to Meredith list them off, the lack of information, to me, that's your responsibility to ask for more information or just say, I think we need to bring this back after we have more information, which we have done
We've done
over,
that.
for many times, So Meredith, what was the last one you mentioned there?
Like we tabled something and it went to another committee.
When you get a chance.
Okay, that was lack of focus on board activities.
Boy, that's kind of a broad thing. Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may, do
Yes.
2 cents worth.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying as far as conflict of interest versus some other reason.
Mhm.
And I think a good supervisor would give a reason. Even if it's conflict of interest, no matter what it is. And if not, I guess we got to give the voters the opportunity to vote that person out and, hopefully they're
So it
informed,
should show up in the minutes,
they're informed enough to make it, give them
I agree.
credit for being intelligent
I
enough
just
to
would
make the right
want them
decision.
to declare that if it's a conflict. That's all.
And
That's all I'm asking for.
Sure.
If it's not a conflict, then they can do whatever they want. But if it is a conflict, you have to know that ahead of time. Otherwise, they participate
Right.
in a discussion and they shouldn't.
Agreed.
So
Do we want to make a rule or
I'll just make
leave
a-
it to committee chairs to just ask ahead of the discussion on a vote?
I think it would be.
If anybody's plans on abstaining and if it's for a conflict,
I
say so
think-
now.
I think it should be a rule.
I think if someone is planning on abstaining, that should be, go to the board chair and say, just want you to know, I'm going to abstain on this because, and then
I don't even care what the reason is, unless it's a conflict. That's what
conflict,
I want
right,
to know.
right,
if it's a
because
conflict.
I own part of something
Right,
that, or whatever, or my husband's part of that, or my,
Yeah.
right.
Right.
If you look at iron counties, they're kind of doing what you're saying. So abstention, all county board members are expected to represent their constituents and fully participate in meetings of the county board, including voting. Nevertheless, there are recognized circumstances where participation is in discussion, voting, or both would be inappropriate. A board member may abstain from participating in discussion, voting, or both. When a board member abstains, the board chair shall provide the board member with the opportunity to explain the reason for the abstention, and if a reason is provided, the county clerk shall record the reason in the meeting minutes. That's kind of what you guys are talking about. It's like,
Right.
it doesn't take or force anybody to do anything. It's just clarifying
But it is in the minutes in case their constituents are reading the minutes or,
That could be the rule, but there's no enforcement.
No, all
Well, that
the,
would
it
be up
just
to the
gives,
chair
right,
to
the-
stop them from participating if they have a conflict.
But
That's
they
all.
would need to state that though.
Right, they'd have to
Yeah.
state if it's a conflict or not. That's all I'm asking for.
But the abstentions that have happened don't come until it's time to vote.
right.
and then the
And
board
that-
chair would give
and-
the opportunity in this case to
Right.
say.
Yeah, but my understanding then is that you need to abstain beforehand. before
Only
there's
if it's a
even discussion.
conflict. Only if it's a conflict. The other reasons you can abstain at the end, if you're like, whatever, the six.
Then
that
why
we
wouldn't you
listed.
just say no?
Well, yeah.
That's a different issue.
Well, that's a different issue.
Well, an abstention.
just- I just
an
think
abstention,
that's-
an
it becomes a
abstention
no.
is
If
a
they're
no
gonna,
vote.
if they're
It
going
really
to
truly is.
Yeah.
abstain because they have a conflict, I think they should state it up front. I got a conflict with this, so I can't,
I feel like there was one,
that's all they have to do.
Well, if you've read all the resolutions and everything and are prepared for the meeting, then you should have an idea that I really can't vote on this. This is not something I
Well-
have right to do. And then you're going to abstain and then you just sit back and let the discussion flow.
But Jenny's always talking about transparency. That's all this is transparency.
Mhm. I think something should be in a
One
rule.
additional question I have, we filter this down to committee level too, so committee chairs can,
Yeah,
do the same thing, because
That's where it
These-
came up.
that's where. it came
examples
up.
are strictly, saying board chair,
Yeah,
be full board.
Committee chair.
that's where the issues generally come up is at a committee level.
Could I ask a question?
Yes,
Would it be helpful to have a statement from Corp Council recommending this or recommending we do this rule or verbiage or anything?
I
Gotta
don't
come
know
up
if
with
it
verbiage
would be
first.
helpful, but.
Probably not. Probably just go with what we're talking about here, but maybe.
So today, if I abstain from voting on this, Dennis can ask me why I abstained.
we don't have a rule to do that.
we don't
Doesn't
have a-
Robert's rules, you said the chairman reserves the right to,
Right.
ask
but
why? and I can say because I wanted to.
Yeah, but it wouldn't go, this is saying it goes in the minutes. It's clarifying the process. Because right now we have no process. Yeah, there is a Roberts rule that allows you to do that, but we don't have that as a process in place.
I thought Robert's rules was our ultimate, that's our,
guidance.
that's our Bible, so to speak, of how we run our meetings.
So I think at that time,
Let's run based off of our ordinances.
Yeah.
and-
So it's a guiding
See,
document.
the way, the unfortunate thing is the way we vote with these computers, we don't know until after everything's over.
but I believe in what we're talking about putting in the rule would be that then at that time, the county chair should say, could you tell us why you are abstaining so we can put it in the minutes?
Would you like to tell us? You
Yeah,
can ask the
It says,
question.
yeah, when a board member abstains, the board chair shall provide the board member with the opportunity to explain. Doesn't mean they have to, explain the reason that they abstained. And if a reason is provided, the county clerk shall record the reason in the meeting minutes.
And then you're talking about consequences. I guess the consequence would be being voted out of office next time around.
Yeah,
Well, if
it's
that's
just
what-
documentation.
Yeah, it's just documentation. It's,
So right now, we don't have anything.
we don't have anything
Mm-mm.
right now.
I was asked to collect. I collected what would have the process that would go to.
We can make a statement in our handbook that it's recommended that if you have a conflict of interest, that opinion be known before the discussion starts.
Right.
So
right.
what-
That's basically what I'm asking for.
So if you choose one of these or want to write your own, what you do is pick this. It would have to go to the full board for acceptance. You guys, you would send it to the full board as a policy.
Be recommended with no
Repercussion.
repercussions. Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
abstention as a cowardly.
It's a
way.
guiding document. I mean,
Yeah.
there's almost no repercussions in our our supervisor manual. I mean, that's the guiding document. I think Brian brought it up. If the constituents see you not following the order, that's their choice to determine whether or not to vote them out the next term. This is to keep order.
I don't think there's people knocking at our seats to get in.
Well, the line that says a board member may abstain from participating in discussion, I don't think, I mean, we all can just do that. You just don't participate in the discussion. So I don't know. But voting or both, I don't know if you want to put all of that in there or just what Alan had said.
And keep it simple.
Yep.
So the effect, if you have a committee of 5 and all of a sudden at the time of the vote, you have 1 abstentions. Now you got 4. So if it's a 2 and 2, the motion the idea would fail.
Yeah.
Which I thought there was one that counted the abstention almost like a no.
Like a no.
Because it, like in your example, it would be right 3-2. There was also one that they removed. So I don't know how they did it, but it was so like we need, when there's 13 board members, when there's somebody that abstains, you actually take them out of the consideration. So now you only have 12. So you would need
Change the percentage.
right. The percentage changes. And so it's just clarifying. So if you had 2 abstentions, instead of 7 votes to pass something, you'd need 5.
So is that, the computer figure that out?
I
There's
don't-
always a win.
Yes, the computer figures it out.
Yeah, I don't know how that
So
works in our
There's a
system.
win-loss.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it gives you a total.
That's a computerized.
Yeah. It gives you a total.
Pass or
votes.
fail.
Yeah. But I don't know what would happen if 2 abstained and you had 5 yeses. Does that pass it or does it fail it? Because 7 is normally. That's where maybe that's why they put that rule in place to make sure to clarify that it changes the majority to the voting members, not the abstaining.
Especially
The
on a
total.
vote where you gotta have a supermajority. It could have
That's very borrowing. Yeah. That would
you
be,
know, I could have an issue to that.
knock on wood, we haven't had those.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion that we add a recommendation that the supervisors should declare with their intentions of abstaining before the meeting.
If it involves a conflict of interest.
As-
Right, if
just as
through
a
the
recommendation.
through the normal discussion,
Right.
they decide, well, I can't vote on this. Morally, ethically, whatever the case may be.
If
they're
during,
to thread
if
off
during the
6.
discussion that comes up in your head, right?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that could happen.
And then the chairman can say, Jeff, why did you choose to abstain? Because I wanted to. Provides the opportunity to explain.
Right. We had an abstention on the budget recommendation this year.
Yep. And how many times did we look at that?
Yeah, I don't that one I don't understand.
Could I just read that back, what you had? Was that a motion for recommendation?
Motion to
Okay,
start
so
with recommendation.
recommendations, supervisors declare their intentions of abstaining before the discussion if it involves a conflict of interest.
That's right there.
There you
That's
go.
it.
Plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
Right. So now just because first we'd need a second before you talk about it.
I'll second it.
Okay. So just because it's a motion doesn't make it a requirement or a recommendation. So now so once you vote, we'll have to go through the process of putting something in your
Resolution.
handbook. Not a resolution, it'll go in your handbook.
It'll go in the
Yeah.
handbook.
Yeah,
We
so
approve the handbook once a year.
just a motion doesn't cause the action to happen. I mean, it causes us to do work, but it doesn't cause it to be like, now everybody has to follow this as board members. So
It's a
I just want you to
recommendation,
know the
don't have to
process.
Recommendation, you don't have to follow it anyway.
Right, but I guess with this motion, are you recommending we get your board handbook with some language and have you vote on it and send it to the board? Or are we just done with it and it'll die because there's no documentation besides a motion?
I'll put it in the handbook.
Put it in the
Okay,
handbook.
that's what I wanted clarified. So we'll work on that at the January or February meeting for February board meeting.
That'll be the end of it.
And that'll be the end of it, hopefully.
And it's a good message for people to make up their mind.
Yeah.
And discuss with your constituents if it's a concern.
Yeah, I skip. We'll skip it.
We're gonna skip January. Okay, if there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion's carried.
I abstain.
Would you like to give a reason why?
You know,
Oh,
if
yeah.
I knew you guys had a sense of humor, I was totally gonna do that. The room's a little dry though.
Okay, supervisor's proof of insurance.
You guys wanted this on it.
I don't know. I don't have an issue with had to get like,
You need to carry insurance to drive a
Once
vehicle
a
down the
year.
road. I don't think we need to provide it.
well, it's the law that you have to have. it.
Yeah, and I pay for uninsured motorists
But-
too. But you know what?
If you got a nice
the laws that
car-
you still gotta have it.
If you got a nice cop like Brian, he'll just let you go anyway.
Is there any
I
minimum?
try not to mess. I try not to mess with the law. That's Jeff deviating through the lanes.
So is there any minimums on the insurance that we have to carry?
Yep, Wisconsin minimums,
Oh,
which is, I don't know the number.
Which is you need to have insurance to drive down the road.
Right.
You know. So yeah.
So I
But-
think this rule was probably put in there before that Wisconsin
Right,
insurance law came.
1985.
Right.
So it doesn't need to be in there anymore, and Meredith and Jules don't have to harass people, because if they're breaking the law, then Brian will get them.
I don't think they harass. They just ask because it's their job.
Your
Okay.
question is my harassment.
Right.
I sure hope Jules is listening.
I
Just a-
abstain.
Yeah, just a couple comments on it. So one, it may be the law, but that doesn't mean people follow the law. You could probably talk to law enforcement about that. So I think the issue is less about you guys showing proof of insurance for coming to a meeting and going to a meeting. It's when the county has you doing county business, like going to a conference. If you were driving to the conference or driving back or choosing to do drink or whatever while you're doing that, get into an accident and you're uninsured and we didn't know that, you know that that driver's coming after the county. So it's a liability issue. We did reach out to our insurance company, and they, again, it's the law. You don't need to have it. However, for liability, it doesn't hurt to be collecting it to make sure those who are doing county business is kind of the summary of what we got from them. So that's our side of it. As employees, we're collecting it, we're putting it on file because that's a liability issue. As board members, you guys make that rule and it's up to you.
Do we collect every employee's proof of insurance?
In order to get paid for
Yeah.
mileage, you have to have it on file. So
Yeah.
yes, we had a big meeting about that just to re-up it, make sure everybody's on it. So like I get mileage, so mine's on file. Yeah, anybody who gets paid mileage has to have proof of insurance before mileage is paid,
Question?
employee wise.
Yes, Paula.
So I always turn in my insurance card for my car and for Dale's truck because I never know what I'm going to drive. So is that a push or is it just the,
We're just worried about a vehicle, your main vehicle that you're
okay,
insured for, because then you're insured whether you're using a different vehicle. But yeah,
okay,
is, personal vehicle for business purposes is simply a good risk management practice and
Yep.
protects the county interests. That's what insurance ended with.
That's my 2 cents worth. I don't think it's a big deal to submit it
Mm-mm.
and to cover the county's butt in case there's an accident.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it either.
no.
And just
not
so
at
you
all.
know, you need to up that to a nickel. You
Oh, yeah,
since
that's right.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no
you
more
gotta get
pennies.
you gotta get your nickels worth
You
now.
got to round up?
Yeah. yeah.
Always round up.
Well, between getting rid of pennies and inflation, it's a nickel's worth. Yeah.
We're getting rid of the nickel, too. We'll go to the dollar.
Okay, Jeff, you got ousted. It's staying in there.
Turn in your card, Jeff.
Clarifies it, I guess.
Actually, I think I'm good through this term.
The other thing to know is if you work with your insurance company, if you just give them the email of like either Jules or the clerk's, I would do clerk's office, Meredith, they'll automatically email an updated proof of insurance every time you renew.
I like to make Jules sweat it out a little bit. Get it to the last week at least.
Yeah,
More
and-
fun that way.
But your question of employees, yes, before any employee receives
Yep.
mileage, we make sure it's on file.
I don't believe in the private sector. They have to provide that, at least of my. two
Most of them get a
employees.
vehicle in the private
Yeah,
sector.
my previous two employers did never require me to provide insurance.
Okay. So that's stand. Next meeting date, January 13th, I'm going to cancel that meeting. Unless something comes up, then we'll have a meeting in February,
It's a 10.
the 10th of February.
That's good because I would have been at Highway Conference.
At the February meeting, we will have to set elected
Appreciate
official
that.
wages for, what is it, the sheriff, clerk of courts,
50 cents.
coroner.
Oh.
So that'll be probably the biggest
Sheriff
discussion.
doesn't want to raise.
That's a yearly, every 4 years, we have to do that for those positions before paperwork is taken out for people to run. Technically, you can take paperwork out now, blah, 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 but before a certain date, we have to have that done.
Okay. Anything else? We stand adjourned.